Hi, and welcome to this episode of Tasty Tuesday. You may notice that I'm a solo today. Krista's, one of our little girls, was not feeling well, so I thought, well, we're going to go ahead and make these shrimp cakes today. I don't know if you've ever tried shrimp cakes, but they're actually pretty good. We made these about a month ago in the healthy cooking class for county employees. But before we get started with our recipe, I wanted to cut up my green onions for you as well as dill. I'm not sure if you've ever cut up green onions, but we need to cut off the top part, which is the tougher part. And then we're going to cut off the roots of our onion. And then you can see the difference here but where the dark green and the white are connected, and we're just going to cut that off right there. And this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of finely chopped green onions. And I'm just going to use my chef knife and go down the white parts. And if you've never used a chef knife, you can see I'm not raising the tip off my board, so I have a little bit more control of what I'm doing. So since it's going to be finely chopped, I'm just going to gather these together. Just continue to chop. And I like to have all my ingredients pre-measured when I'm cooking. That way I can just add everything to the bowl, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Once I put my shrimp into the food processor, we're just going to add the remaining ingredients into the bowl. So I like to have everything ready. So we'll just continue to chop these finely. Right. I'm going to work on my darker greens. I'm going to do the same thing. And I may save a few of these greens for a garnish on the top. And this recipe also calls where you can just get some fresh lemon juice if you would like, and squirt a little bit of that juice over the top of your shrimp cakes. So we'll keep a few out. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Okay, it called for 2 tablespoons. Now, if I was at home, I probably would not be measuring this. I would probably just throw what I have in there. So I think that's good. Okay. I'm just going to finish chopping this up. If we want it for our top, for our garnish, we can add those. All right. So now that we have our onion chopped up, we're going to work with our dill. And this recipe calls for fresh dill. And I've already washed my dill. And what we need to do is just kind of pull our little leaves away from the stem. And we can just bunch these up. It'll make it a lot simpler when we cut it. Because the stem part will be tough. And normally when you wash dill, you just rinse it and just gently pat it dry. You want to be gentle with it. And this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of dill. And you could actually use this for your garnish too if you wanted to add a little bit of this as a garnish. Okay, let's see what we have here. And we'll do the same thing. I've just have it in a pile here, and I'm just going to start chopping. Throw this in there. All right, I'm going to add this to my bowl. And I'll have all my ingredients ready to go. And I think that looks about like 2 tablespoons. Okay, now that I have our dill and our green onions all sliced finely, we're going to add our shrimp to our food processor, and we're just going to grind it up, but we do not want to make it into a paste. And this is fresh shrimp, and I've already cleaned them, tailed them, and so they're ready to go into our food processor. And we'll just pulse it. Just about done. I have a few little large pieces still in there. Okay, that looks good. So we'll just add our shrimp to our bowl. Get all this goodie off of there. And you can use frozen shrimp. I prefer to use fresh shrimp. But if you do decide to use frozen, you'll need to let it thaw before you use it. All right, so now we're going to start adding all of our yummy ingredients. And we have a cup of panko breadcrumbs. We're just going to add those. And then we have 2 large beaten eggs. And we have 2 tablespoons of hot sauce. And then we have our 2 tablespoons of green onion. 2 tablespoons of our dill. I know in our class the other night when we made these, they added one group added a little bit more hot sauce in there. But they were good. And then I have 1 lemon here, and you're to squeeze the juice of 1 lemon. So I've already done that. as well as the zest of 1 lemon. And then in this little bowl, I have a 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and pepper. So we'll just add those. And we're just going to mix these together. This recipe says it can make anywhere from 8 to 10 shrimp cakes. And if you find a little shrimp in there that didn't get crushed up enough, just use your spoon or a knife and break it down. I found a few in there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to form these into our little cakes. Try to give them, you know, all about the same size. And then after I get all these made, I'm going to heat up some oil in my pan. And it's good if you have a non-stick pan. I know when we made them the other night, it just worked better in a non-stick pan. All right, now that we have our patties all patted out, we're going to add them to our skillet. We're going to fry these. You have an option. You can either fry them or you can bake them in a 400-degree oven anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes. But we are going to fry ours, and I have my oil already heating up. You want to put it on low to medium. And we're going to let these cook about 3 to 5 minutes on each side. Now while my little shrimp cakes are cooking, I don't know if you're like me, but anytime I fry food, I'll have a plate and then I'll just line it with paper towels just to drain any kind of excess grease off. So it's good to go ahead and have that together. And these look like they're doing pretty good. They're not sticking. I love shrimp cakes, crab cakes, salmon. I call them salmon patties. And this is a quick recipe. You're basically going to have everything you need in your pantry except for your shrimp and maybe your fresh dill and your green onions. Looking good. Scoot him over there. I know with my electric skillet, it cooks quicker around the outside than in the middle, and you can see that one right there. And I do a lot of my frying outside. This electric skillet, I have a little bench on my front porch, and that way my house doesn't smell like greasy food or fish. And it doesn't take shrimp long to cook. Now that we've added our little garnish of our onion, I'm going to taste one of our tasty little shrimp cakes. It's yummy. And it does have a little kick to it. So if you like a little kick, this is perfect. If you want to lessen it a little bit, I would say kind of take off a little bit of the hot sauce. But it's really yummy. And I hope you and your family will give this recipe a try. And I hope to see you again on Tasty Tuesday.